Hello, hello, hello. Jeremy Majors here with Majors Academy Dog Training out of Green Bay, Wisconsin. And we are live. So bear with me. We are going to make sure we get the special guest in the building. Okay. I am on the phone with her right now. Hey, what's up?
Are you going on or what?
I am. Just come onto my Facebook and I'm going to send you the link.
Okay, got it. I didn't know how it was happening.
I know. There's multiple ways. But,
Okay, got it.
All right, bye.
Bye.
You see what I'm saying? Okay. Here we go. We're on live Facebook and YouTube. And we are going to be interviewing a woman named Lyndsey Morack. She is a breeder. She is a trainer. She is a farmer. And she is a groomer. She owns Groom Zoom. And she is going to be joining us any second now. I just gotta, here we go. Okay, now I gotta share the link with her. Let's see. Messenger. No. Let's just copy it. And then let's log into Facebook. Okay. Okay. We're going to get her involved to Lyndsey, L-Y. There she is. First one. Boom. Boom. Oh no, an error occurred. Okay. StreamYard, what's going on? All right, hold on. Let's try to do this a different way. I'm going to post it in the comments. Boom. Okay. Just click on the link in the comments to join. Okay, it should be on there. You guys definitely want to hear from this person. Let's give her a minute. Let's give her a second to come on. Let me know if it doesn't work. Excuse me, I'm just eating the rest of my soup. She is amazing. That I agree with. All right, where's she at? There she is. Okay, here we go. There she is. Can you hear me?
Yeah, the internet here is, you know the status.
You have your notes and highlighter going on over there?
Yeah, only because I feel like every time we talk about stuff, it gets so scatterbrained. So,
Good for you. That's
well, that's why I say you're in charge of the topics.
of
So
course I am. Of
I'll
course I
just rattle what I know.
am. Okay, so check it out. All right. Her name is Lyndsey Morack. I had misspelled her name and a bunch of other shit, and she let me know about it. But
But you didn't change it.
I did change it.
Okay, rabies was still spelled wrong, but how
Yeah.
you been?
Oh God. Okay, rabies was spelled right.
Yeah.
No, I'm good. She is an Australian Shepherd breeder. She is the owner of Ledge Hill Australian Shepherds, Groom Room um, Grooming, and yeah, she knows a lot of stuff. I've talked to her. I've had many conversations about dogs and behavior and allergies and nutrition and vaccines, and I just want my crowd to know who she is, um, and the information that she has. So this is what we're here to do today. And so, yeah, we have talked many a times. We've laughed, and we've, you know, when it comes to dogs, we are really similar in our thought process. And so I want to make sure people, again, have this information because I think it's super important. I just got off the phone with a person who had a German Shepherd, and they got the rabies vaccine and in June.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna tell the story.
Yeah.
She got the rabies vaccine in June and just had to put their dog down 2 weeks ago. This dog was 5 years old, German Shepherd, lost function of his legs,
Mm-hmm.
and then lost his appetite. And the owner said, "You know what? I can't watch this. I can't witness this from happening." And so they decided to put the dog down. And so I'm not saying that things were correlated, things were together, but I am here to try and gather some insight on vaccines and what they do to our dogs because I think there is a movement or a level of consciousness that says maybe all of these vaccines aren't healthy for our dogs. And so that's just the perfect question and segue to start with you, Lyndsey. What do you think in your mind is important? What's not important about vaccines for our dogs? What do you think?
Okay, so I just took this, been diving more into like rabies because I have a dog about to have a litter, and waited till she was about a year old to vaccinate her. And so I've really been diving in because I only vaccinated her not that long ago before she was pregnant. But I didn't do a booster yet, and she's pregnant. So because I've read so many things about how um, there's been so many negative effects, which as soon as you started talking, I realized that I screenshotted them and I don't have access to them. But but in a nutshell,
What do you want access to? What do you want access to? Those
well, I don't know if I can click out of here and go read them off because I'm
just
never gonna
try it.
remember.
Just try it because I was
Okay.
thinking the same thing.
Yeah, some stuff
We
I
need to hear that. We need to see that. We need our audience needs to see that for sure.
yeah, some stuff I printed off, some stuff I didn't. Well, I don't know if you can you see me or no?
No, but I can.
Okay.
I screenshotted some of the stuff that you posted because
Oh, okay, sure, sure.
I wanted to make sure I had that shit too. So
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah. So, you were talking about that dog in particular
Yeah,
having symptoms and
yeah,
whatever. There's so many dogs that I see on a daily basis. I don't think it's a great idea to keep vaccinating these dogs like we're doing. It epilepsy, seizures, cancer at the injection sites, tumors
Wow.
everywhere, malignant, laryngeal paralysis that often progresses to rear end paralysis. Now, I actually
Wow.
have a dog that, if you've ever went on a dog with me, and you haven't in a while, but as he ages, he's about 10. Um, he gets this raspy throat thing where
Hmm.
it sounds like he's like gasping for air a little
Mm.
bit. So that one is affecting a dog of my own. Degenerative myelitis, bowel disease, allergies, skin and or ear disease, hyperactivity, ADD, hypersexuality, hypersensitivity, aggression, suspicion, fearfulness. Um,
Wow. Wow.
yeah, there's so many things that are symptoms of it, but also, and we see that every day, skin stuff, allergies, the behavior part. Is
Yeah.
some of it training? Yes. But is some of it probably the health of the dog, or over vaccinating? Yeah, certainly. Or vaccinating too early, or vaccinating too much,
Yeah.
you know?
So one of the things that I really got from you and gathered from you just spending time with you was the importance of nutrition, and then the importance of making sure vaccinations are just not something that people just go, "Oh, your dog needs A, B, and C. Let's just go ahead and give it to them."
Right.
I think that there should be some thought into obviously both aspects, but what do you say to the people who, let's say, a dog comes in and they have really red paws, a red belly, red ears, skin is flaky, because you, as a groomer, you evaluate all of that shit. You just see it. What are you telling their owners as a recommendation to remedy said issues?
So that would be a food issue.
Okay.
There aren't many dogs who are actually allergic to environmental allergies.
Okay.
So
Hmm.
anything that you're describing is a sign of a food sensitivity,
Okay.
typically. I mean, there's not a dog that I really know. So some people may have their dogs tested, and they may come back with this grass allergy or dust allergen or what have you. But when they have leaky gut and the gut is so leaky, um, the foods that they're eating, so the gut lining should be like this.
Okay.
When they're eating foods that they're not able to digest or use or have sensitivities to, this breaks down. It eats at the wall, and the wall is separated. Now, little particles can float all over into the body.
Hmm.
Okay, so that's where you're getting all this yeast from, whether it's on the paws, in the ears, rust on the lips, underneath the belly,
Mm. Hmm.
where they go to the bathroom, any eliminating area where they sweat on their paws, pant, urinate,
Mm.
definitely, obviously. Um, but someone may take that dog in because they've not gotten the help, or they've not. I don't see them. There's not a lot of resources, so
Mhm.
they may get them allergy tested, and they may come back saying this dog has a dust allergy or a grass allergy or what have you. But the crux of it really is that the dog can only handle so much, just like humans.
Mm.
And because it's so deteriorated inside the dog, it can't handle grass anymore. It can't handle dust anymore. So the whole immune system is bombarded, so it's just
Sure.
releasing all these histamines, and so then you really can't ever tell what the dog is actually allergic to. So I would just say strip the diet down, which is hard for people because dogs are living in the home, and under the table, catching kids toast crust and
Yeah.
pizza crust and all that stuff. It is hard. I get that, but if you just stripped it down, and started feeding a clean diet, and look for resources, like even if you didn't want to work with me, or you wanted another opinion, just reach out and I'll give you ideas of where to go to get that information, because we don't have enough time in 1 hour to talk about all the things that a diet includes or what have you. But back to nature, which realistically would be raw feeding, not a carbohydrate diet, definitely not grains. Their DCM has nothing to do with grain-free diets. Actually, it really has to do with taurine, and taurine is found in red meats. So if you're
Mm,
feeding red meat, I mean, if you did a little research, you could find all those things. And if you can't, reach out and definitely get you some resources with that. But yeah, nutrition is one, which also is in turn on your end going to make a dog agitated, um, you
exactly.
know, aggressive. You can't get your job done when a dog is miserable.
So, all right. So, average person discovers allergies, maybe some behavioral problems, but they're not going to the vet for necessarily behavior problems. But they've got an allergy problem. They've got whatever. They go to their vet. Their vet says, put them on what do they always say? Fucking, excuse me.
Science diet, yeah.
Science diet, pro plan, chicken and rice, lamb and rice, or they just go cook chicken and rice. Okay.
Yeah.
If a dog, if if a dog owner is going to you, what are you going to recommend?
What am I gonna say? Yeah, so this happens a lot. Even in puppies, if a puppy gets a bug or something, someone will call, say, this dog has had diarrhea for 3 or 4 days. What am I to do?
Sure.
And this boiled chicken and rice
Yes.
recommendation that they're so rice, right off the bat, is a carbohydrate they don't need
Yes.
and can't
No.
or digest.
Mm.
A lot of them being allergic to it. So if you're going to feed them something like that on top of being sick, it's only going to exacerbate the problem. So
Mm,
I will literally tell people just feed some raw meat as protein,
mm,
and you could open up a can of pumpkin, not pumpkin pie mix, just pure pumpkin, and give them a palm size of pumpkin.
mm.
So that's a great food for hardening stools or softening stools, whether your
Mm.
dog is constipated or,
Oh wow.
um, yeah. But just start with there and just simple. You could put a little sprinkle of some real salt on there for electrolytes. If they've been on and on about it for a while and they're dehydrated or you're concerned about that. Also, it will get them to drink some water. But within that, feeding the raw food, it's full of moisture.
Sure.
So when they're sick, or you have a sick kid and they don't want to drink, like that's an issue of, we need to be hydrated. You're
Sure.
getting dehydrated from having diarrhea, but how are we going to get this moisture into the animal? Well, through raw food, you know.
Yes. Because
Yeah.
it has all of it. Um,
Yes.
yeah, you have definitely put me on to just emphasizing more raw meaty bones to my dogs, and you as a breeder, which is something that I want to delve into one day, because I know that there's a psychology part to of it all. I mean, people get old, how early do you allow your puppies to go to new owners? How young are the puppies at that point?
Like 8 weeks.
Okay,
Well,
so between when they're born and 8 weeks, on a psychology level, what goes on between mother and pups and what have you? What goes on?
so
And is
many.
it beneficial? And is it beneficial or not? To does it there's is there attributes that play on to your puppies, that you can go ahead and say I can match this puppy with this person and it'll last a lifetime? Do the puppies, between that 8 week period, actually show their personality, that like who they are for the rest of their life?
Yeah. Well, yeah, within reason, because people's training or exercise regimen, or I mean, the home that the dog is in is going to have, something to do with it. But when they leave, are they the dog I think they are? Yeah, that happens quite early actually, because people will
Mm.
start picking out earlier than is probably, I don't know. Back in the day, you waited until a puppy was 8 weeks. You went and saw him, and then you picked your puppy out. Nowadays, it's much different, where people are,
Yeah.
color or a certain sex or whatever. There are people who say, "I want a working dog," or "I want a dog that's really
Yeah.
quiet," or
Yeah.
"Help me with that." And we can certainly do that. But they're showing their personalities 4 weeks old. I can tell
Wow.
who's in this last litter, it was funny because I had this little black and white puppy male, and the lady messaged me and she had picked him. I didn't have a lot of males, so he went kind of right away, just a kind of a plain black and white border collie looking
Yeah.
guy. But she said, well, why isn't he in any of the videos that you're, because she's following me on Instagram, and and I said, because he's literally right up in my business every single time. He's literally right here just wanting the love, you know what I mean? He just,
That's
like,
his
and
personality.
he was like that the entire time, just, and not too clingy, but like just literally wanted to be touching or held. I don't, she's maybe given me one update or whatever, but and yeah, a lot to do with their home environment and stuff after,
So,
they
as a breeder,
leave.
are you on some level screening the people who are buying your puppies and saying, this puppy isn't good for you, or you're not good enough? Not necessary. Not saying that.
No, I have had that conversation.
Okay. I
Yeah.
know you have. I know you have. That's just interesting to me because, again, as a trainer, as a person who hasn't dealt with puppies at all, um, and someone who wants to experience the psychology between when they're born and 8 weeks. So here comes up the next question. So I've got this dog that I, it's a client of mine's dog, and this dog is just incredible. I mean, he's awesome. His name is George. He's a English Mastiff, and they got him from Kentucky. But as a breeder, like, I want I want a dog that acts like him. Okay,
Hmm.
what do I do? Do I, like?
What does he act like? What do you mean?
I don't know, dude. He's just great around my kids. He's fantastic around other dogs. His only mission is to mark every blade of grass there
Mhm.
in existence. That's all he cares about. His name is George, and he's the most gentle, but his build is amazing. Like, he's not the typical mastiff where it kind of looks more tall and long than wide. He is so proportionate. He is wide and tall and has a temperament, and just, he's just amazing. So how do I go about, if I wanted to tell the
Replicate
owners
him?
I want to replicate him? How do I go about freaking telling people that I want to breed him and I want his puppies? What do I do, man?
Well, do you know how he grew up, or no? Do you know where he came from?
Well, I do know this. I know that he was a breeder out of Kentucky. I mean, he came from a breeder out of Kentucky. The owner is from the South, and he he's an employee for the Packers. And
Did the puppies have contact with the male and the female during their stay at?
I didn't. I maybe asked that. This is like, he's 4 years old, so it could have been a conversation, 3 or 4 years ago.
That you had, yeah.
But I'm not sure. I just know that I want, like, I've told him, I said, if you ever get,
Is he still intact?
yes, of course.
Yeah.
If you ever want to get rid of this dog, give him to me. That's how awesome he is. And his wife is on board. She's like, I don't want the dog. But he is clinging on because he loves this damn dog or whatever. But yeah. I gotta either have him or his offspring. What do I do? Do I
Yeah, I
fucking
would say
trap
it.
breeders or what?
Well, I think a huge part is, are they growing up in a proper pack mentality? So, when they're little, I don't mess with them too much until they're probably about like 3 weeks, when I have to start feeding them, because usually I have pretty big litters. But let the
Why?
mom
Why?
just be it. I just don't believe in messing with them. It's a time for the mom to bond.
Hmm.
Um, for her instincts to come out. If I'm sitting in there nosing around all the time, bugging them, it's just more stressful. They'd rather be in there by
Left alone,
themselves.
hey? Yeah.
Leave them alone. Yeah, honestly, your puppies are able to root around, get frustrated.
Mm,
You can't be sitting in there saving them because so and so is. I mean, within reason. Obviously, I make sure everyone's eating. If someone's screaming, that's an issue. But
sure.
letting
Wow.
them get frustrated, letting them work. You know
Wow.
what I mean, physically to get to nurse.
Yeah.
Um, and just letting her do her thing, and then as they grow, they're exposed to a lot of things around here, but the biggest thing I think is just letting them be loose. Like,
Mm,
always having a dog with this, something stopping them, whether it's a leash. Obviously you can't leash puppies, but when you're raising them, but a lot of them are behind kennels, and there's just this pent up um
sure. Barrier frustration is what we call it.
yeah, just
Yeah.
anxiety that's built up from the
I want to
start,
go.
and it,
I want to go. I want to go. Why
yeah,
can't
because they've never been able to go. So if you let them go, guess what? They're not going to even go. They don't even go anywhere.
exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
they're not going to go anywhere. I mean, the
Exactly.
biggest threat would be like a hawk eating them. Like, they don't run off. Do you know
Yes.
what I mean? So
Yeah.
within that, then the other adult dogs are coming in there, and we're messing around. They get too close, they get a warning. If they don't listen, then they get reprimanded. But all that stuff makes them really aware, because there's follow through everywhere.
Exactly. Okay.
You know,
So it comes to, when it comes to that type of stuff, um, just for the people that don't know, man, how old can a puppy, can a mother give consequences and the puppy actually be able to respect that consequence? What do you think? How old in a
they're
real?
about probably like 5 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, because they're trying
They're
they're
trying
trying
to milk, right?
they're trying stuff at a young age. It's very little, but sometimes we know little things mean a lot, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah. So they could do something dumb where they're just school. Even actually, this one will correct for puppies that just are too vocal.
Wow.
Yeah, which is annoying. I mean, any dog bark.
No, but
I
with
mean,
the okay, so then my next question is how, and as in your experience, does that make a lasting impression for these dogs going forward if
I
when they're
believe it does.
that's
Yeah. Because
fantastic.
you'll get a puppy who, let's say, is scared of something,
Yeah,
which is normal.
yeah,
Say a cat walked through,
yeah.
and it startled them, and they started screaming. Well, mom runs over there and first is like, "What's going on?" And then realizes nothing's going on, and a little correction will happen
Amazing.
to that puppy, even though she's very little. But the screaming and the screeching of "I'm dying." If you've ever heard a puppy carry on about anything that
Oh,
is,
dude, adult dogs do that
it's
too now. Oh,
you know,
the babies. I've got a French bulldog right now, Lindsay, who fucking excuse my language, who screams bloody murder. Oh my
yeah,
lord,
yeah,
it is
was
crazy. Like, stop being so dramatic. That
literally.
was that dog never corrected by the mom as
Probably not.
you're talking about. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But then lies in, your mom has to be of stable mindset
Yeah.
also. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? Because I mean, in kennels, if you're walking in and all the dogs are barking or
Yeah.
jumping and just
Chaotic.
wild, yeah. I mean, you're not gonna get a better result. But I would guess, from the sounds of that, it was probably a quiet place, or they had room to stretch out,
Yeah.
that the frustration wasn't built up. And in
Exactly.
certain breeds like that, it's a huge deal. Or
Good for you.
breeds like
Like
mine, it's a big deal.
to know that your specific breed probably needs a little bit of variance when it comes to the environment, you
Yeah,
know, and honestly, the just the thought thoughtful um element that you bring to your litters is really like eye opening to me, because when you talk to breeders, you don't hear what you're talking about.
yeah, that's not the focus of what they're
Not
doing.
good focus.
Mm.
And it then brings me to mind that maybe people are really getting shortchanged on what they can gather if they ask the right questions from a breeder.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
from your so from so you're a breeder, you're gonna buy a dog from a breeder. Tell us, ask us, or tell the people like three good questions you're going to ask a breeder in order to optimize your transaction, your purchase. What are you going to
Well,
ask?
I would say you'd want to see the dogs, like the adult dogs.
Number one,
Or
want to
yeah,
see
like
the dogs. Want
the
to see
puppies don't even have to be born, you know what I mean? Or on the ground, that's not an issue. But if you go there and there's frustration already, or they're aggressive, or they're up and down the runs, or if they're in a run, you know what I mean, I would pick a dog that's not kept in a run. You know what I
Mm,
mean, I would pick a dog that's not necessarily also babied in your house. Do you know what I mean?
so,
um
okay. So for one,
yeah,
the parents matter.
right. What are they feeding?
Mm,
You know what I mean? Because again, the
that's a
frustration
good
and
question.
yeah, if they're not getting what they should be getting, the dog is agitated. Like,
And you
what do
don't
you,
know whether it's their temperament or their actual food that's
right.
causing the
Yeah.
frustration,
Yeah.
right?
So, yeah, if they were satiated, they have a different attitude altogether.
Okay,
So,
so check this out. I've got to go off topic. I've got a corgi in my kennel right now, year to year and a half.
mhm,
Paws are fucking. I'm sorry.
I know
Paws are.
you're bad.
Yeah, I know. I'm terrible. Paws are red. All paws
Hmm.
are red.
Yeah,
The dog is on Purina Pro Plan
of course
chicken,
it is. Of course
right?
it is.
But it was recommended by the vet.
Hmm.
So what do I do? What happens? What do I need to do? What do I need to tell the owner? What's going on?
Well, I would get it off that dog food.
And it
Chicken,
also free feeds as well. It free feeds.
is it fixed?
No.
Well, overweight?
Yes.
Okay. If it's overweight, I mean, then I would put it back in check. But also, if it was, if I took that dog home myself, you want to know what I would do? I would feed it a lot of raw meat and raw meaty bones, and purge its body and starve its body of all the sugar that's in. So sugar from carbs, which is the kibble, the starchy grains, all that stuff, the grains in general. There's probably grains in that formula, and get it off the chicken, which is a hot protein anyway. But yeah, I would strip and you know what? The dog may get diarrhea the first day,
Sure.
may, but honestly, diarrhea and loose stools and crappy poop, haha, is really from like an irritated gut.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? So, like, they're not going to die if you just switched them over. And quite
Yeah,
honestly,
everyone acts like that though. Hey, as soon as their dog has diarrhea, they're gonna take it to the vet and be like,
well, and
"Oh my
it's
god, what's wrong with my dog?" You know, and
I
like
know, but really, it's like,
we just had diarrhea this morning, and we're like, we're fine. You know.
oh yeah, I have not had diarrhea in a long time. I really don't. But if I did, it'd be like I wouldn't feed this food one more single time.
Exactly.
I wouldn't feed it anymore. Actually, just
Anything. I actually wouldn't feed
yeah,
it anything. Give it a break for a second.
yeah.
Take a
First,
break.
you could fast it. Yes,
Yeah.
first you could do a 24-hour fast. The dog will still
Oh,
be living.
oh,
Second of all, you could feed bone broth. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Soothing to the gut, just like humans. And then you can do a meat, or a meal of some raw meat and some pumpkin. That dog will literally get over the
Night
diarrhea.
and day. Night and day.
Yeah, for
Night
real. But long term, the dog has to come off what it
Irritating the stomach.
is reacting it to, because it's not gonna mixing it with is not gonna help. You know what I mean? Just cold turkey, pull it off of that, switch it to something else.
I
If
tried
they're
it.
gonna do
I
what's
tried.
that?
I'm in a golden retrievers lovers golden retriever lovers Facebook group, and
I am shocked.
I know I'm not in there anymore though. By the way,
Actually, I had a really sweet golden in the other day.
because oh god, don't talk crap about the Goldens now.
No, no,
Don't
actually,
talk crap
and
about the Goldens.
no, maybe this lady is listening, Amanda. But I said to her, I said, I don't hand out compliments willy nilly either. You know me. But honestly, this I told her, and we did some stuff with her Saint Bernard at home. She had a peeing, like a dribbling problem. Honestly, that really boiled down to not having enough control over the dog. The dog didn't have enough rules.
Sure.
Sleeping on the couch, and so she's getting this dribbling, and then she'd like go to the bathroom a couple times. But anyway, so we did some bounced around some ideas with that dog, and then she gets this puppy, and of course I'm telling her, you need to kennel this dog,
Sure.
the Saint Bernard, kennel it, get the e-collar going every day for the next 6 months. I don't want to hear anything about it other than the dog wears its e-collar every single day, because that's what it needs. And guess what? So this little golden puppy, she has an e-collar on it, and she's doing the same things. And this puppy is so good. And guess what? When it came in to get groomed, yes, it did.
Like,
Dryers on. I got water on it.
yeah.
Yeah. But guess what? It got over it quite quickly, and it's able to relax, and
That's
it's like,
that's
yeah, the same time that puppy was leaving, there was a different Aussie, not one of mine. It was a different client of mine. Was in there, and he's trying to turn around, and she walks in and just carrying on. And it's like, if this dog had some rules at home, and the same rules at home applied in the groom shop with me, because I have to do a job. And it's like, if it was all just the same everywhere, you could literally fly across the country with this dog. You could get it. You
exactly.
could get it groomed. You could walk into a store today. You
Exactly.
could,
You could
you
go
could,
into a vet's office and you could get the dog
yeah,
to actually take direction from you. Here's
yeah,
my point, people. Listen,
yeah.
it matters a lot what you do when you're at home with your dog. That
Everything.
means it's not the most important thing is not allowing the dog to meet 1,000 different dogs, 1,000 different people, 1,000 different environments. There's things that matter more than that. And that is exactly what she alluded to, which is what you do with your
Respect,
dog at
honestly.
home is
Yeah.
going to make everything trickle down and be better. Period.
It's so
You
easy.
don't
It's
even
so
have
easy.
to socialize your dog
Yeah, you
in
don't.
order to get your dog to accept. That's the thing. How do you get your dog to accept new things? Well, if they actually can take direction from the person who they need to take direction from, then they're more open minded. If
Hmm.
they feel like they have to advocate for themselves and they can't rely on you, then
Hmm.
they're going to stay or uh, evolve into ignorance and say, no, I think this should be how the way I handle it, and it's going to be
Hmm.
negative. So I always tell people all the time, it's more important what you do on a daily basis with when it's in your house, just you and that dog. And it's very easy to
It,
not make the dog listen, because what's it matter? Because
hmm.
it's not hurting anybody. Your ego is not involved. But when you're outside, when your dog goes outside, or when you're anywhere else with your dog, now those things really matter. And if you haven't put in the work when it's just you and him, you have to have that mindset that says, okay, I love this dog and it is for me. However, I also want this dog to be enjoyable with the outside world. And in that sense, you also have to push the dog away and not let the number one thing that aggressive dogs do is follow their owners around the gosh darn house. All aggressive dogs follow their owners around the house. Tell the dog to go away.
Probably all anxiety-ridden dogs
That
do
is
that
all
also.
anxiety is the all here's what I just thought about on my walk, Lyndsey. Anxiety is the thought process behind anxiety is I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
I
If
don't
you
know
just
what
told
to do.
them to stop
Tell
what
them
you're doing.
something.
Yeah.
Tell them something.
Stop, go away,
But
lay down.
don't give in to their anxiety
Mhm.
because many people say, "Oh, he needs to go out. He needs to go for a walk. He needs to play more." But you just reinforced their anxiety when you did that.
Yeah.
Once you know, here's the thing, Lyndsey. Once you know what a dog needs and you provide that with them with that, now you can say with conviction, leave me alone.
Mhm.
Because everything else is now coming from a position of I want to see if I can gain power from you,
Mhm.
and it will lead to all bad behaviors, separation anxiety, uh, stranger, whatever you want to call it. It all leads to the same thing. And what these dogs need that I'm seeing, all aggressive dogs, is that they lack the ability to pay attention and concentrate. They can't concentrate. They're overthinking so much that everything is, they're like this.
Mhm.
They're like this. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
If
sit
someone
down,
just told them to stop.
sit
Yeah.
down,
Yeah.
and don't worry about anything else.
I actually had a fellow groomer friend of mine send me a video of this dog the other day, and it it's crazy. I think my response was, "Isn't it insane what people create?" This dog was old, sitting in a cage at the groomer, and it was just shaking, like trying to get out of the cage, like trying to. You know what I mean? So some simple rules at home. A, kenneling your dog, making sure it's familiar with the kennel, respecting the kennel because the dog was doing none of this, which
Mm.
was making it go crazy, which is making it not feel good, which doesn't look good either. You know, it it's sad to look at a dog who's acting like that because he's trying to crawl out of his skin. He has no idea what he's even supposed to
Well,
do.
and then people come to the conclusion about that and they say, I don't want to make the crate a bad place. And it's like,
It's yes, not
that's
about
because you're not telling him what to do while he's in the crate.
yeah. Yeah, which would be behave. Or there's some guidelines when you're in there.
Yeah. You rule.
Not going to the bathroom, not biting, not barking.
Well, here's mine. Mine is this. My protocol is this: no standing.
Yeah,
What
you
you
could go that far,
what are you
yeah.
doing? Because that's the first symbol. That's the first sign of anxiety.
Of
Do not stand up in
yeah.
the crate. Do not put your face right here. No,
Mhm.
no. You're going to
Yeah.
back up and you're going to sit down
Mhm.
because you are. Because if I leave the room, then the next thing is nosing it or
Yeah.
working or trying to figure out how the hell you can get out.
I
So
just told somebody the other day that their dog was pushing on the back kennel when I put out in the back kennel, just taking his face and going.
yes, yes,
And
yes.
I'm like, "Oh my god,
They
I'm
will hurt
watching this
themselves.
dog."
Yes,
First of all, yes, but also I'm like, "This dog doesn't walk good. It's not respecting anything.
exactly,
Stop
exactly,
pushing. Like stop pushing. Stop pushing in the heel, stop pushing in the
exactly,
kennel, stop
exactly.
pushing, and jumping on people. Uh all this stuff, but all those tiny little things make such a huge difference.
Exactly. And so we know that those things are related, but yet it's still something that we hear from owners that say that they don't connect any of that. You know, they say, "Oh, the dog's pretty good." Well, it barks at everybody who walks by. Well, it jumps on me when I walk in the door.
Yeah.
Well, it does not come when I say called, but it's a pretty good dog. No, your standard of what a pretty good dog is it's not drawing blood from others.
Yeah,
Then
right.
you think that
That's a
that's a
pretty
good
low
dog.
bar.
No,
That's such
no,
a low bar for
no.
real.
When I walk in the yard, when I walk in the house, your dog should not jump on me. Jump on me.
Mhm.
I shouldn't even hear the dog. I really shouldn't. If I hear a dog when I walk into your house, you have not necessarily fulfilled the dog's needs, and that's what it is. A dog whose needs are fulfilled, when you walk into their house, you don't even know a dog is there, right? To some degree,
Mhm.
they're
Yeah.
so they know the difference. They're clearly intelligent enough to know that you let someone in versus someone breaking in, and they're going to
Right.
act completely different. And so if you let me in, they should be so okay and peaceful that they don't have much to say. But if they do have things to say, then that means that dog thinks that they can manipulate whoever comes to that door, which
Mhm.
on a very basic level means the dog thinks it's out of its realm of who you need to be. Your dog thinks way more of itself than it should be if it's trying to manipulate people that come through the door via barking, jumping, or even just being overly excited. That's not
Mhm.
good and healthy for the dog. The dog
Mhm.
is wanting you free the dog of that anxiety, free the dog of that obligation. Tell the dog to go lay down. It's actually going to make the dog better if it can
Mhm.
say, "All right, this is what they said. Cool. I don't have to do anything but just relax."
Yeah, it's really like a burden that you're
It
lifting.
is. It's a burden that lifted off. So, but I think there's a culture of I want to feel something right now when I walk in the door. I need to feel that good feeling right now, to the point where they forget about the dog has got to get along with family members to a certain degree. Their dog has got to a certain degree, maybe feel comfortable at a kennel, because it may be that, or a groomer. How about that? Or a vet.
Or a vet if it has an overnight emergency. What happens then?
So,
Then we try tackling like etiquette. I mean, at that point, probably not a hot idea,
and the dog
you
doesn't
know.
eat for 2-3 days, and
Yeah,
the dog
right.
freaking doesn't. You can't even train. You can't even teach the dog anything, because it's like, I don't care about anything else. I just want, when I'm out, I'm trying to get back to my owners. I have so many
Mhm.
dogs that go out into my yard, and for days and weeks, sometimes even depending on the age, they're like, I don't care if there's other dogs in the yard, even though I was brought here for dog aggression. I don't give a shit about other dogs.
Mhm.
I want to get back to my owner. How do I get back to them? Because I've
Mhm.
never been away from them. I don't know how to act without them. And it just, again, it kind of prolongs like the training process, because I got to get the dog to be somewhat comfortable with me to actually receive information, instead of saying,
And
I
get
don't,
anything done.
yeah, I don't care what's going on. Where's the nearest exit? You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I get it. I get it.
Seriously,
I get
seriously.
it.
Dogs are
I
like,
get it. But
dogs
people,
not
they're
this.
not doing them any favors by letting them get like that. It's pretty selfish, really.
It's exactly. I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
It's
It,
selfish. At the end of the day, let's call a spade a spade. It's
yeah.
selfish. You only are concerned with how it makes you feel, to the point where you're not willing to sacrifice what you feel to actually get the dog to accept outside things.
Yeah.
Because it's crazy that when I tell people, especially with couples, I've got a French bulldog right now. The French bulldog does not accept the new boyfriend. He already bit the hell out of him. And I told the person, I said, are you willing to not give this dog any positive attention until it shows positive attention to your boyfriend that you moved in? And that a lot of people struggle with. They want, they think that the dog is there primarily only to give themselves that satisfaction that they feel.
Yeah. And
However, dogs tend to shut out the rest of the world if they have too much affection from one person. What do you think about that?
yeah, that's not what a dog needs. A dog needs the same rules every day. It needs rules. It needs the same, it needs consistency.
That's
You know,
right.
love it in the way it needs to be loved, and that's not by petting it.
That's right.
That's
I
not
don't
by
think
petting.
dogs need affection to survive. I think that they are born on a whole different level. They can walk.
Yeah,
We cannot. Babies cannot walk. They need to be carried. So they need that closeness, that affection. But dogs have got to be on their feet much sooner. They've got to be on the move much sooner. It's just more important that they know who to follow than who to feel warm with. Hey,
that's so
uh,
true. Hey, how long are we staying on? Because we should circle back to the rabies, which we should talk
uh,
about.
okay, but see, this is what I like though, Lyndsey.
Yeah.
Conversation is flowing, and it's just going wherever it goes. I like that.
Oh,
But
that's
you're
good.
right. You're absolutely right.
That's
Let's
good
talk
because
about rape
because
because this is
maybe
why we're
people,
here.
yeah, maybe people tuned in because of
Hey,
this.
hey, hey, who whatever. Okay, but you know what? They started administering rabies vaccines to people in California. Did you know that?
Do what?
I'm just kidding. That was a total joke. But it might not be far fetched. Okay.
Yeah, honestly.
Okay. Right.
Well,
All right. Talk to me.
well,
What's up?
yeah. So people, the first question people always say to me is, "Well, it's the law. We have to,
Yes.
right? It's the law.
Yes.
We have to give
Yes.
the dogs its rabies
Tell
shot,
us.
right?"
Yes.
And so the crazy part is like many things, whether you believe it or not, are there to benefit someone lucratively. Okay.
Yes, indeed.
This is no exception to that.
No exception.
Yeah, in any event, there are two basic forms of law. So you're required by law, the required by law, to vaccinate your dog. There's two forms of law. One is the legal, constitutional, and common law that is in place, and the other is colorable law passed by administrative
Freedom to order.
agencies
Yeah.
in whatever, right? So in any event, all mandatory rabies vaccination programs are colorable law. So realistically, it isn't the law. They can't enforce it.
So literally you cannot be arrested for that. Is
No.
that what you're saying? So it's
Yeah.
outside the color of law. Okay, because that's what I was gonna ask is okay, that's a great way to start it off. You cannot be arrested and or detained because it is out the outside. It's just a city ordinance, which doesn't pertain to the state constitution and maybe obviously the federal constitution. So first and foremost, I gave my city clerk some crap when they asked me about it. I said I don't feel comfortable with it. I
Mm-hmm.
I am under the belief that um, rabies stay in the immune system for much longer than um, the veterinarians would tell you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel comfortable with it, and they're much more, in my opinion, she was much more acceptable of that premise because of COVID, because vaccinations became such a argument
Oh,
point. Hey,
sure. Yeah, that's
but what
true.
was your experience with your city? What was what happened? Like you're a breeder too, though. So like, are you
Yeah.
required as a breeder where you're at? Are you required to have a kennel license, or are you in the zoning appropriate zoning area where that stuff doesn't matter? What's up?
No, there isn't a kennel license here.
Okay, okay,
Probably over X amount of dogs, I would say maybe you'd have to have something. I'm not sure.
okay.
But yeah, in any event, the whole system was kind of based on or created for income and profit,
Wow.
realistically, because the number of rabies cases was records began in 1964, and from that time through 1978 there were no cases. And
Wow.
so that's when they first started requiring vaccines were mandatory annually. um
Wow.
and really why? So because it costs $1 to $2 per dose, and they're charging $15 to $25.
Yeah.
I mean, to give
Yeah.
it out. I mean, that's kind of where it started. Is there rabies out in the wild? There certainly is. I mean, but I'm gonna go off here, and because I screenshotted some stuff and
Yes.
some facts and whatever, but Yeah, even here, I don't require rabies in my shop. I don't ask for
Wow.
any vaccines. If I seen a dog who walked in who was ill, or if you're around an ill dog, I'm going to say something. And you're not going to be here. I'm going to sanitize. It has happened a couple times, but um, nothing too crazy. But I just feel like it's your own choice. Like, uh,
Yes.
every dog isn't cookie cutter, and every dog shouldn't be vaccinated, whether they're immune compromised, older, too young, too small. You're giving the same dosing
Mm,
on a little Chihuahua as you are a
Great
Great Dane, and you're
Dane. Yeah.
expecting great
Wow.
results. Yeah, yeah, that's crazy. So initially, if y'all remember, it was every year. You were to get the rabies every year. Then they did some testing, and then they moved it to every 3 years.
Yeah.
And guess what? I mean, it's still in the system.
Wow.
Yeah, hold on a second. There was some other.
Oh,
Okay, so dogs that well, any animal I suspect that has rabies um are going to have certain symptoms. Obviously, those are, you know, what do rabid animals do? They're aggressive, agitated, foaming at the mouth, XYZ. The crazy part is that if you're familiar with homeopathy at all, um, there's you're treated based on similarities, like similums.
okay.
So if you okay, so the same thing would treat the body. If it had symptoms of
Yep.
a cold, you would get some sort of potency of whatever for a cold, like treats like. That's how this is. The crazy part is these dogs have been vaccinated so much through generations. You can get um, diseases like tuberculosis is a disease that happened years ago. Many people died. Well, it was suppressed by regular antibiotics and whatever in the body, right? So it never goes away, but it's just suppressed in each generation, right? So if
Mm-hmm.
we're over vaccinating these dogs, and and at some point their body has reached this maximum where what you're giving them then gives them the symptoms of the disease or virus. Does that make
Wow.
sense?
Yes.
Okay, so what are symptoms of a dog with rabies? And I'm just going to give you these few examples of what behaviors dogs do that are very similar to actually having rabies. Dogs
Okay.
who furiously bite at a running hose or sprinkler.
Wait.
Do-
Say that again. Say it again.
Dogs who furiously bite at a running hose or sprinkler.
Wow.
Dogs who are agitated by streams or waves. Dogs who cannot resist chasing bikes, cars, joggers, water moves,
No
all of anything
way.
that moves. Cats who madly chase a laser beam. Wild
No way.
thunderstorm phobias, flashes of lightning especially. Um, yeah, so we're vaccinating, but as these dogs are just
Wow.
over vaccinated, what's coming out? Well, the symptoms of rabies is what we see. Does that make
Wow.
sense?
Dude. Oh my God. What?
Yeah.
That's like every
Yeah.
dog I train.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Dogs that are overly
Unbelievable.
aggressive, suspicious of strangers, quickly aroused to fighting, biting. Um, Paralysis of the throat. We talked about that one already. Reverse sneezing. Do you know how dogs that reverse sneeze?
Wow. Of
Yeah,
course.
right.
Yeah.
Aggravated by shiny moving objects, eating indigestible objects. Okay, so if anyone ever watched the movie Old Yeller, you remember the dog sitting in the corn
Of
crib like
course.
eating the wood, right? So is that why our dogs are eating indigestible objects? Because this is
Mm,
a symptom of, convulsions,
yeah.
seizures, restlessness, a tendency to roam. So what does a dog do when, or an
Wow.
animal do when it has rabies? You see it out in the, middle of the day, they're roaming,
Yes.
you know what I mean?
Alone. It's just weird.
Yeah,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
biting oneself to the point where some allergy dogs have chewed off their toes or a foot. I've not seen that one
Oh,
myself, but
all right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow. Unbelievable, man. It just makes me think about all of the dogs that had those issues that you mentioned, and my heart
Yeah.
goes out to all of them
Oh,
because,
right.
man, because could this have been prevented if,
Yeah.
let's say, you didn't go to the vet at all.
Sure.
Let let's say that, because you're going to the vet and you're going to get put on these vaccinations, going to be put on these medications, you're going to be put
Mm-hmm.
on this food that ultimately really result in those behaviors that you mentioned. I've witnessed it all of those. I
Yeah,
did
I
a
have.
German I did a seminar with a German Shepherd rescue, and none of the staff and none of the fosters knew why this dog always stared at the at the ground. And I
Mm-hmm.
go, this dog was this dog. Someone played with a laser with this dog, and that's
Sure.
why this dog is obsessed
Sure. Just
with every
waiting.
little light. Yep,
Yeah.
waiting, anticipating every single light that hits the ground and
Mm-hmm.
reflects. And they go,
Yeah.
"Oh my god, how did you know that?" Well, because the dog stares at the damn ground the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And
Waiting.
if you're
Yeah.
walking, the number one concern is to look at the ground in
Yeah.
anticipation.
Yeah. So really, your training, what the dog is eating, but also what they've been predisposed to in means of vaccines, over vaccinating, or whatever. That's going to affect their behavior. And some
Well,
things,
even
yeah,
that, and then neutering. That's the other thing the vets
yeah, that's a whole
obviously
other thing.
push.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother podcast for spaying and neutering.
For real. Yeah. There's so many dogs I see. Actually, and some people may have seen that little golden puppy on my story. He was so cute I couldn't do a video, or I couldn't not do a video of him. But in the video you see, I don't know how old he is. I would guess maybe 16 weeks, somewhere around there. But in the video you see how he's standing here, but his digits are just so bent,
Hmm.
um, which is normal for a growing puppy because their bones don't actually touch. So there's all
Hmm.
this fluid and things,
And
and
it's
in between.
flimsy
And
a little bit.
yeah,
Yeah.
but what do you think happens when we're fixing dogs and their bones look like
They
that?
never get to actually straighten the hell out. They
Yeah.
just stay the way they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, okay. All right. So, on a personal level, tell people, when I brought my golden with to you, um, tell the people what you saw and were recommended to me when you saw my golden, because when I brought her to you, her coat was so crappy. I knew that I
Mm-hmm.
was feeding her the wrong type of and you pointed it out so quickly, and it's something that I didn't know about, but her paws were very hot. You said her skin was very hot. It radiated heat.
Mm-hmm.
And so you said she's got to get on a better food. Like, if people are experiencing those symptoms, like, first of all, how do people know that their paws are doing that, or their belly is how can a regular person figure out that this is what's happening, the same stuff that happened to my golden? How can people figure that out?
Well, first of all, is your dog agitated?
And what does
You know,
that
is
look
it
like?
obsessive licking, obsessive chewing, licking down here, shaking their head? I mean, what would it feel like if we had to sit
Their
and shake
head.
our head because our ears, or sit here doing this all
Oh
day,
yeah,
like
yeah, 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 yeah,
pounding on
yeah,
our
yeah.
chest?
Oh
I
yeah, yeah.
mean, just like craziness, you know what I mean? No one wants to
Just
live
can't
like
sit
that.
still. Can't sit still.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, yeah, agitated. What was the question again? Gosh, it's getting so
Well,
late.
what are the signs that? Okay, so
Oh yeah,
obviously
so
that's a sign.
red staining. Okay, irritated, agitated, loose stools. Obviously, if you have a loose stool, there's an issue somewhere for sure.
Well, let me
Um,
ask you this, Lindsay. Let me pause you on that. because I know as a person who watches dogs poop a lot, I know that I notice a pattern, and I want to run it by you. There are certain dogs who are territorial
Hmm.
that will poop multiple times,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
that second poop is usually softer than the first.
Sure.
Okay, but that does that necessarily mean that the diet is not right, or is that
No.
driven by
It,
their need to mark their territory?
yeah. So that I would say is a training issue
Okay.
where it's not necessary to keep crapping your brains out because there was a dog here one time. I'm not going to say the lady's name, but he just, and I actually sometimes in the summer I would take him for a walk because I just was like, you know what? I'm gonna let this
Yeah,
dog crap
just
his
poop
little
in his
brains
mouth.
out.
Make sure he
Yeah,
doesn't poop in my crap. Hey, over here,
yeah,
right?
but it's like this dog wouldn't stop pooping.
Pooping.
It's just all he lived for. Like it was,
What kind of dog
I'm
was it?
I was like a little Shih Tzu thing, bless his heart, but he
Lord.
passed now. I don't see the lady,
All right,
but
all right.
it was like he couldn't get enough of marking in that way. And it's
Oh,
like at that point, obviously it's not great for his digestive tract to be
yeah,
straining in such a way that he was trying to mark. He wanted it so bad
yeah.
that, do you know what I mean? He would then give himself like looser stools on the end. But realistically, if you take your dog for a walk, you know what I mean, and you see loose stools, that's an issue that you should first and foremost. It's a or belly rumbling, burping. A dog shouldn't be burping.
Burping,
It's not fun.
farting,
Yeah. It's
obviously
not funny
farting.
to
Hey,
me. Yeah. When people like
yeah.
laugh about that, I'm just like, oh, okay. Well, your dog's guts are on fire, so there's that. Do you know what I mean? It's not
Oh, 100%.
funny. Like a
And
burp
let me just
isn't
tell you the
funny.
benefits of actually having a good diet on your dog.
Yeah,
They poop probably half as much. And
sure.
then when they poop, it doesn't smell as bad. It
Yeah.
it also disintegrates very much, very quick. And
Hmm.
so you might go out there and look for some poop and it ain't gonna be there really.
Yeah.
So it really reduces the amount of work for those who have to pick up poop. Um, it really reduces the amount of crap you have to deal with.
Yeah.
Um,
For real,
so
pun intended. Also, to that, I will say that I do think it's important to get your dogs out in the morning and move. Actually, twice a day, but I would really say in the
how many
morning, get
times a
them
day
out.
are you feeding your dogs, Lindsay? How many
I just
times
feed
a day?
once, just
They're
once.
once.
With
Okay. I
unless they're
was getting
pregnant.
so much
Yeah.
crap. I recommended this to that group at the Golden Retrievers group, and this is what prompted me to leave. But I had told them
Did they bring up bloat or something? Was that what they
they
said?
brought up this 6-year-old dog they just adopted. They fed free fed the dog, and the dog was overweight. This was my solution. Oh no, the dog was pooping in the house. I said, feed the dog once a day so that you
Hmm.
can be a little bit more predicting of when they go
Yeah.
out,
Yeah.
so that they can actually be on somewhat of a schedule, a pattern on when they go and that. And boy, did I get so much crap for that. You shouldn't feed the golden retriever once a day, and you should blah 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 blah. And I'm like, there's research out there that says it adds years to the life, as a matter of fact. But still, that wasn't good enough. So I'm like, all right, I'm out of here. I can't.
Yeah. In a
The moment you
primal,
say,
innate way, they're gonna go out, scavenge, gorge themselves, and then not eat for a day or two.
and and
You know,
and he, oh, there you go, exactly.
and
And they
maybe
don't
we're
have
not gorging, maybe we're not gorging them, but we don't have to be, we don't have to gorge them because we feed them once a day. But I don't think it's necessary unless you have a small puppy. Puppies do need food a lot,
yes.
a lot of food, offered a
How
lot.
old?
Um,
How old then do you switch that one once a day? How old are the puppies usually then, or how
Usually
old are the
over
dogs?
a little over a year,
Same.
at least
Okay.
till they're a year, yeah. Or like, you know, and if you feed, like I feed raw basically, but I'm not going to let food like that sit out all day. I have a pregnant girl right now, so
Exactly.
then you can get something like a freeze dried raw and you can let that sit out just like kibble would sit out, and they're able to eat when they want to eat. So I mean, there are ways of doing whatever, but for them, even an old dog, I have an old dog, eats once a day. There's nothing wrong with
Exactly.
him.
Exactly. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So we have a question, and let's see about it. Okay. So here we go. Kathy says, I have a 6-year-old boxer and a Shih Tzu poodle mix. I recently added an English bulldog. I've always wanted one. A friend had a litter. I took Hank, a male. All my dogs are neutered, and things were okay at first. Now, Hank is getting older, and Hank and Dozer are fighting on the daily. Not like food aggression. Hank is very protective of his things, but Dozer and Charlie don't really care about toys. They like fetch outside. Any advice for me? I'm I've been alternating them in their crates to give them to give. Okay. Well, Kathy, I think your first um maybe mistake would have been to add another dog that you didn't know much about to a pack, uh, because it's clear it's not that hard to get dogs to get along if you know how to match the dog's energy with the opposite energy. It should take minimum um, work, training, supervision, due diligence if you're really um, careful about who you bring into your pack. Um, and that's not to say that the dogs couldn't get along, because but I'm just not trying to put the cart before the horse. But right away, I think people think that any dog can get along with any dog, and that's just not the case. If you want to make things easier for yourself, you have to consider the sex, you have to consider the age, you have to consider the breed, and then you have to consider the temperament. Wouldn't you say, Lyndsey, anything to add to that? Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I just want to say, like, even any dog that people are adopting, and people are always like, "Oh, the dog was fine for the first 3, 4 months, da 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 da," and then we started having these issues. But it's like the dog was stimulated in a way where it wasn't showing you its true colors, maybe. Do you know? And now this dog is comfortable with these other dogs, and so he's maybe going to start some stuff. You know what I mean? He's maybe going
Mm-hmm.
to see where he lands in the pack. And if someone's allowing this confusion to go on, then there's fights that break out because no one
Mm-hmm.
knows where anyone belongs. But honestly, any dog people adopt, they're not showing their true colors until
No, a month, maybe even.
months
Yeah,
months later.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So,
Mhm.
I say that to say, yeah, you got to be really careful about who you bring in, because again, it could hurt the dogs that are already there. It could hurt you, and it can hurt the neighborhood. So these people, these adopters, these rescuers, these shelters, they really need to give you a comprehensive, I would say, evaluation on the dog. And if they don't, then you probably need to go elsewhere, because although there are maybe plenty of dogs that are okay in those within those parameters, but the outliers are really damaging to people, dogs, and that community. Um, so when you're bringing in a new dog, number one thing, after all what we just said, is that you can prove to every single dog in your pack that you can control every single dog in your pack. Can you keep them calm? Because dogs don't have a problem with calm dogs. Most dogs do not have problems with other calm dogs. They're cool. They don't want to hurt. They're not wanting to get aggressive. They're not wanting to fight. But if they feel like they have to, then that's a leadership issue, because that's them taking the lead and trying to control what they know to be out of control. So to guarantee success, at the very least, get them to get along with each other, is to take control of every dog. Not one dog. When you add another dog to your pack, you can't now then treat one of those dogs very special because they feed off of that. They become possessive. They become selfish. And so when you bring a new dog in, they kind of got to be on the same level to a certain degree. They kind of got to be treated the same rules. Because there is dogs that do get jealous. So, without knowing more details about your situation, that's a general answer for you. But again, bottom line is, Hank is very protective. Well, is that justified by being? Is he being, arrogant? Is he just saying I can do in the name of protection? I can be an asshole. Like, you just gotta kind of weigh that out. And if he is being too much, too forward, being an asshole, then don't let him be an asshole. Don't let him be too assuming. So here's one thing that I would suggest for you with all dogs. When you walk in the house, do not let the dogs greet you. Do not let the dogs be excited about seeing you, because it will create tension within your pack. Tell them to leave you alone, go away, go lay down. The other thing is anybody in that pack allowed to follow you around the house? If they feel comfortable just following you around the house, stop doing that. And obviously, if people jump, yes, he is being an asshole. Okay. Yeah. So if any of them are jumping on you, you have to stop the jumping, because without knowing your dogs, all dogs that are aggressive, they all jump on people or follow you around the house. Those are the two most common behaviors, Lyndsey, that aggressive dogs display. They jump,
You're
they
gonna
bark,
see my dogs
or they
doing
follow
that.
you around the house. What?
I said, you ain't gonna see my dogs doing that.
I know. I'm trying to look behind your camera. I'm trying to figure out where your dogs are.
Yeah,
But
they
no.
don't live in here. They don't live in the house.
You already know you and I have the same rules. We've had many a conversation and laughed our butts off because you're like, you find that annoying too? Thank God someone else in this world finds that annoying as well.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I'll tell you one of those things that we're talking about. Number one, when it comes to German Shepherds, because they're notorious and because I work with them the most, here we go. When you bring the dog out of the kennel, or you put the dog on leash and you sit the dog, if the gosh darn dog is nosing your hand and nosing your leg or crotch or anything, nosing you, number one sign, number one, as far as I'm trying to get you to do what I want you to do for me, and that's not healthy. Okay, Lyndsey, you know what the hell I'm talking about.
Yeah, don't even touch my hands when we're,
Listen,
you know what I mean?
listen, Lyndsey. If you bring something out of your pocket, and them dogs, you know the look that you just gave me. As soon as you bring something out of that pocket, they're gonna put their wet big nose right in there. You know what I'm saying?
Not my dogs.
No. But that's what I'm saying is, like, mind your business, dude. Mind your business.
Yeah,
Get
for real.
out of my thing. Move away. And
Also
you can
on
ask.
that, the dog doesn't need a treat every time it does something. So
No.
also we could just cut that whole concept out, and you know what I
Out.
mean?
Out.
Yeah.
See, but real experienced dog people know what's necessary and what's not. And that is just not necessary. Although it makes you feel good by giving them that treat, right? It makes you feel good. Remember that. It's you. But It is not. Experienced dog people know what's necessary and what's not. They peel away. So every time you say sit and the dog puts its butt on the ground, don't say good boy. Don't say good girl, because it's not good yet. It's just not. Wait until it's chill for 30 seconds, 45 to a minute. Then when it doesn't, when it's not looking at you like, where's my treat and where's my pets? Do not pet that dog right now. Don't
And
pet
so for most
that dog
people,
too
that's
early.
all day, all day. You'd
All
have to
day
go
long.
all day. You'd have to go
Oh,
all
I
day
have to
long.
correct people. I have to correct people constantly. He's not a good boy. He's not a good boy. Don't pet him.
Yeah.
Not yet. Not now. Not right now. No, no. Don't do it. Don't do it. So,
And their tone of voice makes the dog feel some sort of way that's
yes,
not even
yes,
necessary. Just say
yes.
less.
Say
Literally.
less. Say
Say less.
nothing.
Say
Because
nothing.
when you say something,
It actually
when
means
you
something.
it adds they're like
Yeah.
they do what? They pay attention
Yeah.
instead of going, she talks all the time. Talks all the time. I don't care what you say. And that's the point. Okay. We got a couple another question. I have a 13-week-old pit healer mix. Oh my god. In 9 years of fostering, I have never seen this. My pup drinks urine. Also, help me correct her mouthiness, which is awful. Oh Lord.
I would say,
Uh,
has the dog been wormed recently?
mm-hmm. Okay.
I can't see if they answered you, so I don't know that. But I
Well,
would.
they don't. Yeah, they. That's a great suggestion, but elaborate. What's up?
Oh, me?
Yes, you
Oh, I would say
elaborate.
there's some sort of parasite load that the dog is eating, um, or drinking its urine. Also, how is it
So,
drinking its urine? Are we peeing on concrete, or I don't help me understand
but
how
but but
this.
more to that, Lindsay. When dogs eat poop, right? It's sort of the same kind of stems from the
Sort of
same
this,
issue.
yeah, sort of the same thing.
Talk
If
about it. Talk
the
to us
dog,
about
if the dog has a parasite load, generally its guts are going to be imbalanced, right? Because they have a parasite load worth
trying to
talking about.
compensate from something for something.
Yeah. So sometimes you'll see like erratic behavior like that when there's parasites involved. So that'd be my first go to whatever. Beyond that, if they're still doing it, A, how long has it been happening? Is it a habit, a formed habit? Or B, are they missing some sort of probiotic that they're trying to,
Mm,
but typically, if it's their own feces,
mm,
their guts would have to. I mean, they'll go out and eat, wildlife
yes.
manure and stuff like that too, or dirt or whatever, and that's what makes up their microbiome and makes it
Microbiome.
healthy. And yeah, but I would first visit. Has the dog been wormed before with a decent wormer that's covering all of the types of worms.
Now, if you don't want to go
Tapeworms.
to your vet, is there a place to get a dewormer that you would
Oh,
recommend?
you could get it on Amazon or Fleet or Tractor Supply. Century, it's called Century. There's a 7-way. It covers 7 types of. It's like two tapeworms, whipworm, roundworms, hookworms.
So, is
Yeah.
there a difference between a dog who eats its own poop versus eating other dogs' poop or other species' poop? Is there a
So
difference in
I think that
microbiome
if they're
makeup?
eating. Yeah, I think that if they're eating their own feces, it's really a matter of maybe they're not digesting their food. So the half digested food that they shit out,
One or twice.
they're
Okay. Wow.
choosing to be eating it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I
Wow.
mean, you can get a nice probiotic, do that. But I would start with worming the dog. But also, again, how is the puppy drinking its urine? Where is
Yeah,
it
I want to
going?
know that too. Yeah,
Where is
that's
it
a
going
different.
pee? Like, is it peeing in its kennel and it's licking it? Are we on a concrete run? I don't
That's
know.
that's something that I want to ask you about, because I did have a dog who, that German Shepherd that I showed you. Well, maybe I didn't show you, but super aggressive.
Mhm.
And he would, as a as a when he got unsure of himself, he would go underneath his legs and either just sniff his penis or lick it. And then if he did pee, he would drink it. Part of me thinks that obviously that stemmed with insecurity obsession, where they're trying to compensate for their insecurity by doing this. And I've seen that in other dogs where they will just do weird things
Like an erratic
this
behavior.
at the same no at the same presentation of what makes them insecure, right? So
Right.
this German Shepherd, when I would tell the dog to sit down when it was just standing in the crate, it go to would be to check if its penis was still there. That's what it would look like, right? But like, or lick its pee after it peed, because in the beginning it was that, you know, unsure. So
Mm,
is that a result of something that's going on medically, or is that something that's going on because the parents didn't know how to intervene in that obsessive compulsive weird behavior? With that German Shepherd, again, he would he would literally just put his nose on its penis every time I would go towards the yard. And if it was there, the first thing is when he would see me, then he would go and check to see if his penis was still there, type stuff.
mhm.
And
Wow.
so I don't, I'm leaning towards, obviously that's more behavioral and
Yeah.
allowing it to go on for that long, because he was 3 years old, so
Did
no,
he piddle, like submissive piddle, or not at all?
yes, he did. It
Then
was, it was,
I would maybe guess that I've seen this in dogs too, where they piddle and then they
and
know they're going
then
to, or
yeah.
they go to check, yeah, or clean
What is
themselves
that?
up or
What
whatever.
is that?
What?
You know what that is?
Well, I mean, theoretically, they want to stay clean and inconspicuous to predators, so
Sure.
they would have to clean it up. I
Some
mean,
dogs, eh? Some
yes,
dogs
I mean,
don't give a darn, but some dogs will pee and poop in high grass and not in the middle of your yard, and they will be
yeah.
clean ass dogs. But some dogs will. It doesn't matter where they're at. I got a Belgian Malinois right now who, you know, he's been pooping in his crate. He's a year old, just a year, but
Hmm.
he pooped in his crate and peed for the last 2 days. And it seemed like he was okay laying in it. So I said, okay, let's see if you're okay laying in it. Then I'm going to put you in a airplane crate, and you're not going to have room enough to be away from it, because that
Sure.
Great Dane crate that I have, he can get away from it. He
Oh,
didn't
okay,
pee,
sure. Yeah,
didn't
it's too
poop
big.
in that airplane crate. He did not. It was clean, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think that he came from a house that when he wanted to go out, all he had to do was go, "Brr," or whine or bark, and they were there.
Mhm.
Because
Mhm.
he has no tolerance. He has no he can't. It doesn't seem like he just was on a pattern at all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, just
It was up
catered
to
to
him.
and
Yeah, it was up to him.
mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that's like
anyway,
letting your dog go to the bathroom at any point in your walk.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah, waking
it's
up at 3 o'clock in the morning and being like, "Oh, he has to go out." No, no, no. Get some sleep. Get some sleep. They can hold it. Hey.
yeah, no kidding. Yeah, and if
Oh,
they're pooping in the kennel, I mean, that's an issue that needs to be
yeah,
addressed. Like, you
100%.
gotta seriously get them over
Yeah.
it.
All
And it
right.
probably
So
is a matter of shortening the kennel so that they're in a smaller area.
shortening the kennel, get them on a good food routine to where
People who tell me this are usually blocking them off in the kitchen and wondering why we're having accidents.
no way, Jose. No way. No way. Okay. Well, listen. All right. some of it all is this, guys. If you want puppy advice, go to her. Go to Lyndsey. If you want your dog groomed, I don't know. She might be full. Her books are pretty full, right? Where are you booked out into today? January, February?
Yeah, I think there was like 3 spots left for in November, and then yeah,
So listen,
January.
not only though
Maybe.
is she a groomer, but she also is a behaviorist, in my opinion, and she takes those challenging dogs. Not to say that she's welcoming aggressive dogs, but if you have a dog who, I don't know, isn't necessarily good with grooming, she knows how to straighten them out. But she's going to tell you got to get some shit done at home when it's just you guys at home, and it's going to make the grooming better. It makes everything better. Everything.
Mhm.
Everything is better if there's rules in the house and you make them become accountable at home. Don't let these dogs continue to just be in your business all the time. It is okay. Actually, it's not just okay. It's actually healthy for the dog to be told, leave me alone, go away, or no. And that's it. Okay? It's going to benefit your relationship, especially if your dog becomes selfish of territory, you, bones, etc. If your dog is a selfish dog, close out the rest of the world. I don't want people here. I don't want other dogs here. I don't want blah, 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 blah. Cats, doesn't matter. The Malinois that I have is here because it's killed chickens. I'm like, good thing I got chickens next door because this is going to be great. Um, so anyway, all right, guys, make sure you guys, if you're on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, follow Lyndsey, Groom Room, right, on
Mhm.
Instagram, Lyndsey Morack, um, and then Ledge Hill Australian Shepherds on Facebook. If you guys are ever wanting to be if you ever want to purchase a puppy of good elk and temperament, I have experienced these dogs, and these dogs are awesome. And I wouldn't just say that. I promise you, I'd tell you the truth if these dogs were crap, but they're great. So check her out. She's a wealth of knowledge when it comes to nutrition, when it comes to um, um, just anything in regards to puppy rearing and vaccinations. Check her out. Okay. What do you got to say? Tell the
No,
people
nothing
what's up.
that we went over. Yeah, honestly, maybe we should just do a live of each individual thing if people want to cover. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah,
Because
that would be good. We do a live on. We'll do a live on. Let's do a live on vac just the rabies vaccination in general, and then let's do
perfect.
a live on nutrition, and then let's
Yeah,
do a
there's
live
this one. Yeah.
on just let's do a live on temperament. Let's do a live on puppy selection. Um,
Mm.
yeah, let's do a live on even. Well, I mean, do you have things you think you could talk about grooming? Like what, like is there things people need to know to pick out a good groomer? Let's say.
Oh yeah. Well, actually, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Like pick out a good groomer, know how to pick out a good breeder, know how to pick out a good, obviously, what to, again, like we can delve deep into what questions to ask, as far as, again, puppy selection. And I also I want them to know a little bit more about how you do breeding, because for me, here's a couple of questions. We don't have to answer this now, but like, I have a dog that I absolutely love. He is a perfect dog to me, and the owners don't know anything about breeding. The dog is still intact. He's 4 years old, and I want They won't let me have him, but I want to breed him so I can have who he is. How would I go about, you know, finding? How would I go about doing that? You know what I'm saying? Like, do I need to find other English mastiffs that, and then how do I know who's good or not? You know what I mean? All those questions I have for you, and also when I do breed dogs, you're going to have to be there for me, right? Like I'm going to be like, Lindsay, be my mentor because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So
Yeah.
I know that there's my attraction to all of that is the psychology side of it, but at the same time, I know how powerful genetics is. So that's another one that we can cover is nature versus nurture. The big freaking
Hmm.
dilemma in all of nature. How much does nature actually play a part, and how much can we, if we can at all, bring it out of them? Because right now, my opinion is 80% genetics, 20% training. I just don't know if and that's just, again, just me. I'm not doing much thought about it, but give me your ratio just right off the top. What do
Yeah,
you think?
I would say that, and like 80% of their personality comes from their mom. So what kind of a mom situation do you have? But then again, like I've seen many females that weren't getting simply enough calcium and they went crazy. It
Wow.
wasn't, and but the crazy obviously is projected onto the babies during nursing and all the things, rooting, or
Wow.
what I mean. Uh,
Wow.
but they can literally go crazy if they're just not provided with, what I mean,
The
the
right.
proper
Yeah.
care.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, so we could
Um.
have another thing about that too. Like what that's yeah, that's very important, obviously.
Yeah. Hmm.
Good deal. All right, Lindsay, man, thank you for the conversation, dude. You and I we see things the same, and I obviously wanted to make sure my audience knew who you were, and let's do seminars too, man. Let's have a seminar where we can knock down behavior, nutrition, and whatever else we have to offer, because I do think that it's not out there enough. What and it's just not out there enough, and more people need to hear it. It probably will make people's lives a lot easier just from the knowledge that we have. So maybe look out for that. I want to still find an indoor facility that we can do seminars in during the winter, but we need to do those because, like I said, that the average pet owner is really misguided. You know what I'm saying? And you
Yeah.
being a breeder that starts from A to Z, and me being a trainer that starts from D, maybe, or even whatever. We have
Hmm.
seen the spectrum of behavior, and we can kind of make sure people are doing the best for their dog. So, yeah, guys, this is who I wanted you guys to see. She is from Fremont, right? Fremont, Wisconsin. What?
Horton,
Is that not right? Oh,
Hortonville.
yeah. Okay, Hortonville, whatever. All right, Hortonville, Wisconsin.
Hey, you want
But
to know what we should do? That just made me think of something. We should critique dog trainers because people go to these play honestly because
what do
I
you
remember
mean? How?
what
How? What do you mean? What are you talking about?
I
What is going on?
what made me think of it was you were just talking about what you're talking about, and there was a lady who had shared or commented on my post because I shared that we're going live. And it was a lady I had sold a puppy to, but I don't hold classes anymore, per se, individual or group lessons anymore.
Yeah.
But obviously she has a puppy from me. You will have a lifelong, relationship with me.
Yeah.
If you have questions, I'm always
Of
there
course.
to
Yes.
answer your questions or help you. So
Yeah.
this dog was like a year and a half, and he comes and she says, I just am still struggling with the walk and the loose leash walking. and distractions and what have you. And we literally had this dog walking with the proper equipment. You know, she comes, she's on a harness, we revamped the whole thing,
Oh,
have an
all right.
e-collar put on, and literally the dog has been a different dog since that day. And
Yeah.
all it took was 45 minutes of just the proper information or information that works. You know what
Yes.
I mean? But I feel bad because they went to multiple puppy classes and this is the
Yeah.
information they were given and it's
Yeah.
basically set up for
Broken.
failure because it's just not going to work. You know what I mean? It's not going to work.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
so I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
We should
And
we should privately investigate places.
are we talking about what Elon Musk is tasked to do? Elon Musk is
I don't
tasked to filter out bad government, whatever, and
yeah.
we should filter out.
Filter out bad dog news.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
because there's so many dogs who don't even get to me, lose their life because someone listened to a trainer that said, you know what, this dog is too aggressive and it needs to be it needs to be put down, and
Yeah.
it couldn't be farther from the truth. You can't evaluate a dog in 30 minutes
Mm-mm.
and say that this dog needs to be put down. I would say you're very arrogant if you think that you don't need to take days and weeks sometimes to get to know the dog, to see if the dog can be comfortable with a new set of rules that are going to obviously keep the dog from being aggressive. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
these veterinarians that tell these people to put their dog down just because they were in uh, uh, a 10-foot by 10-foot room, and the vet came in and turned around and crouched down and put a treat over its back as a means to try and get along with the dog. Then meanwhile the dog's like, no, like, leave me alone.
Yeah. Check
That dog is
yourself.
being, yeah, that dog,
Yeah.
that dog is being put down because the vet told them
Yeah.
to. Like, those are the dogs that we want to not, what we want to save, because we know that that's not true. I've had countless a number of dogs that have been through that situation, and it ended up being, no, it's just something that the owners can do at home to really flip the script on the dog's
Mm-hmm.
behavior when it comes to what the dog's perception is of the world. So, anyway, let's do all of it, Lyndsey. Let's do all of it, man. Let's do
You got
seminars.
it.
Let's do more of these.
We're
Let's
here to serve
do.
the people.
Let's go. Let's go. We're starting a movement in this thing, man, of truth. Like, it's crazy. The more we learn, too, the more we want to give to you guys, too, when it comes to vaccinations and stuff like that. I don't even care right now if what we say is actually true or false, but the fact that we're going to bring it up is more important than just sweeping it under the damn rug. Amen.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. All right. It's getting late. I want to kiss my kids goodbye or good night. So,
You
thank
got
you,
it.
Lyndsey, for coming on. We'll be on next time. I appreciate everyone watching, and we'll see y'all next time. Peace out.
Bye. Bye.
Bye bye. Later. In stream. No, in stream. What the?